Well, hello, this is Jim, and this is Jim, and I live in Texas, and it's Sunday after the Tuesday attack on the Echelon 1 building that you're seeing across the street. I debated with myself a long time about making this video, but I decided that because I feel this maybe more personally than another person might, it's been on my mind all week, I thought I would record my thoughts. This happened at about 10 a.m. Tuesday, I believe. I first heard about it at about 10:25 when a friend of mine told me a plane had crashed into a building here in northwest Austin. That really worried me as a private pilot who's in a flying club here and does fly actively in this area. You know, my first thought was at one of my friends, and we have a staff meeting at 10:30, so I really didn't concentrate on the meeting. I was thinking about this the whole time, and as soon as I got off, somebody opened the local news pages, and they said it was the Echelon 1 building. Well, besides being a software developer, I own part of a retail tax service. My wife is the principal owner. We're both enrolled agents. She does a lot of audit representation work. This Echelon 1 building with the big hole in it here is where most of the audits in Central Texas are conducted. So my first thought was, God, I hope Pat's not in that building. So of course I called her. No, she wasn't in the building, but she was a little freaked about it too. As soon as I heard Echelon 1, I knew that it was a deliberate attack. Prior to that, the best thing I could think of, particularly from looking at the amount of smoke that was coming out of it, was there was probably a twin-engine airplane that had lost a motor. Those can become uncontrollable, but when the pictures got more clear, it was clear the plane had flown into the side of the building, as you see there, not the top of it, as it would if an uncontrolled twin-engine airplane had happened to crash into it it would be from the roof. And of course, it wasn't very long until they figured out who the pilot was, and the manifesto came out, and you know all the whole story. I don't have to repeat it. The things that jumped out at me was the fellow wasn't a poor man. It's sometimes a struggle for me to pay my share of 1/28 the cost of 3 airplanes. I share 3 airplanes with 27 other people, and it's still an expensive avocation. To have 1 airplane is very expensive, and this fella had it in a locked hangar at Georgetown, which is a hard thing to get, and that's expensive to have. I thank goodness that the initial reports the plane was stolen were false, because that would have given the TSA the excuse they need to lock down all the general aviation in the world. When I read the poor fellow's manifesto, it's pretty incoherent, but it looks to me like he got caught up in some of these tax protester, I know the magic words to make the IRS go away kind of people. It's really sad. We see that in our tax office occasionally. People buy into these ludicrous arguments and from these hucksters who want to sell a book or a DVD to tell you that you don't have to pay taxes when you do. Like it or not, you do. And certainly, we have nothing personally against the IRS people who have to do their job. They're doing a job. The government hired them to do it. You, the taxpayer, hired them to do it. I hired them to do it. There's no point in being mad at them for doing the job we hired them to do. There's a lot not to like about the tax code, but taking it out on poor Vernon Hunter, who was just a fine gentleman, from all accounts, lives in Cedar Park, where our tax office is. To take it out on him was just horrible. And I will say this for the Christians of the world: his family put out a public statement that they forgive Joseph Stack for killing their grandfather. That takes a lot of faith to be able to do that. I don't know if I could do that. I sure hope that this isn't some sort of a trend. I don't think it is. I think it was one man who probably had many, many problems in his life. And one of these quiet types who bottles it all up inside. I can understand it because I'm kind of that way, but I don't think I'm going to be committing any suicide attacks anytime soon. But some of us old guys bottle stuff up, and he bottled it up till he couldn't hold it anymore, I guess. I wish he'd have found a better way to express his outrage. Thank the Lord that there was only one person killed and not hundreds as could have been. There was a kind of I don't know if it's a miracle, but a very fortunate thing. Right up the street here in the parking lot, just over that way, there were 4 fire departments holding drills, and they had 1 fire truck. The firemen were there all with their personal gear, and they were from not from Austin, but from the outlying communities, Lake Travis and Cedar Park, and I think Jollyville, I'm not sure, but they were the outlying fire departments had gathered in a big parking lot that's over there to do some training, and they saw the airplane hit the building, and they were there in no time, and I'm sure that helped a lot. There was a fellow with a glass truck, had some big ladders, because these buildings are all glass, as you can see. He put his ladder up there and helped 5 people out of the 2nd floor. I found out later he was an Iraqi war veteran, and that doesn't surprise me at all. Well, this is a sad, sad sight. I'm going to be driving past this to work every day, you know, for the foreseeable future, and it's certainly a depressing sight. I'm not happy, but I wanted to get my thoughts down. So the takeaway from this is all this: don't believe the tax hucksters who say they're going to wave some kind of magic wand or quote some obscure article of some law that they may or may not actually exist, and by saying that you don't have to pay your taxes. You do have to pay your taxes. See a good, honest tax preparer, not an 800 number, not something you see on TV. Ask around among your friends, find an accountant or a enrolled agent or an experienced tax preparer before you get into the point where your life is ruined by the tax code. It can happen. It's not right, but it can happen. But don't let it come to this. Let's thank the good Lord. It could have been so much worse. And Vernon Hunter and your family, my hat is off to your family. I've never seen, the statement they put out was so graceful and so loving. It expressed concern for Mr. Stack's family. It forgave Mr. Stack. Said they were placing their faith in the Lord, and God bless them for that. There's a silver lining in every cloud, and the example that family is setting of grace and courage under horrible circumstances is something we can all admire. This is Jim from Austin, Texas.